Hey guys, welcome to Hang Out with Mark. But before we get into this show, I want to ask you guys a quick question. Everyone that's watching, everyone that's listening, if I want to know if you're an entrepreneur, if you're someone out there that wants to start a business, but just doesn't know where to start, just doesn't know what that vision is or where they should be going, I want you to know this show's for you. Or maybe you're an entrepreneur watching right now and you know exactly what you want to do, but the challenge you're running into is where those next steps are. How do I make that vision become a reality? Well, I'm glad you're on the show because this show is for both of you and everyone listening that resonated with those two questions. I'm Marc Gaudett. I'm your host of the Hangout with Mark show. And I want to let you guys know this show is specifically for entrepreneurs and fitness experts as I continue to rebrand the focus on this, that want to grow a business, okay? They want to grow a business so that they can create the lifestyle that they desire. And one way in which we're doing that is we are bringing to you every single week people that can inspire you by showing you what's possible so that you can strengthen your belief system, empowering you by giving you specific action steps and showing you how they did it. So that when you have that inspiration and when you have that empowerment, now you're free to take action towards creating that business and lifestyle of your dreams. And that's really the purpose of what this show is. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. Some of you are regularly tune in every week and make Hangout with Mark a habit. We go live every Tuesday right now at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we record the episodes. But if this is your first show, I want to welcome you to the show. And if you've been on watching the show regularly, I want to welcome you again because I want to let you guys know, starting with this episode, I've actually crafted 52 weeks. That's right, 1 year worth of shows that's based on all of the topics are going off a model that will guarantee to grow your business. So if you follow these steps, if you watch these shows every single week and you implement the action steps, the promise to you is that you will have every single thing that you need to grow your business and start leveraging and creating the lifestyle that you desire from that business. So this show is for everyone that has that dream, wants to create their business, the business of their dreams, and create a lifestyle from that business, not just replace their business or their 9-to-5 with another thing that sucks all of their time, but have the ability to scale and grow. So without further ado, if you guys want to get more involved and know about what next week's topic is, or know how you can find out who the guests are going to be on the show, go ahead to my website. You'll notice at the bottom of the screen there, it says www.marcgaudett.com. That's Mark with a C. Gaudett, Gaudett.com. And you can subscribe to my email list. And every single week, I'll keep you updated prior to the show on who the guest is and what the topic is so that you can tune in and watch those episodes and be informed to make the decisions that are going to help you grow your business. But today's show is a very, very powerful show. You guys should really listen to every single word here because we are going to be talking about vision, okay? We're going to be talking about having a vision and how to execute that vision and how to make it become a reality. So we're not just going to talk about why it's important to have a vision. We're going to talk about how to get those action steps in line so you to execute that vision so that you can realize that end goal. You can realize and achieve that vision. And before I get deep into the topic, I just wanted to make a brief introduction. Our special guest on the show today is Aaron Law. Now, Aaron Law and I actually met we have a mutual coach, Nick Pereira, and him and I met because he was doing some exciting things and still is. Now, this guy, the reason why he's a model for this show of vision is because he actually created a vision, followed it through, and is now living the life that he desires. In fact, he is what we call a freedompreneur. He is someone that has a business but is able to travel the world, do whatever he wants, when he wants, with whom he wants, because he's followed his vision and created a system that allows him to do that and live the lifestyle that he wants. And now he goes around helping other people that are in his community and that want to leverage the same business, accomplish the same thing. And I'm going to let Aaron say hello to you and tell you a little bit more about exactly what he does and the people he serves before we jump into the topic. So Aaron, please say hi to the audience and tell us a little bit more about you, my friend.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for that introduction. I'm pleased to be here today as a guest on your show. And as you mentioned, my name is Aaron Law, and I'm an egg farm in Canada in the province of New Brunswick, which is on the Atlantic coast. And I wasn't always an egg farmer. I left an engineering career of about 11 years, came back to the family farm, bought the business, and now I'm crafting that business and designing it to fit my lifestyle, the lifestyle that that I desire to live and deserve to live as well. So I'm also a coach as well. So I help coach farmers and entrepreneurs in how to design their life and their business in the way that they want, so they can live the best life that they wish to live. And what I'm going to share with you today, Mark, is we're talking about vision. I'm going to share with you a perfect life example of a vision that I set and took steps and action to make a reality.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Aaron, for the introduction. And to frame the session, I'm going to put up a model on the screen. Now, Aaron, you and I talked about this, and we came up with this idea yesterday, so it'll be familiar to you. But everyone watching, I want to take a look at this model that I'm going to flash, okay? Now, you'll notice at the bottom is this whole notion of vision, okay? That's really the foundation of what we're going to be talking about today. In the middle of this house, right here, is really the plan plus the action steps, right? And those are based off the vision. So that's our house. And our house is built upon a foundation, which is our vision. And then at the top there, we have the goal or vision achievement. And so this is our roof, right? This is the top of our house. And so I want you to keep this model at top of mind, because so often when we talk to entrepreneurs, a lot of people, they know they want to start a business. And a lot of the times we're starting it because we want to earn more money than we were going to earn on our 9 to 5. And we just think we need to get into action. And so what'll happen is sometimes people miss that vision, that foundation, because if we don't have a strong foundation, we know what's going to happen. If we don't have a strong foundation, that house comes crumbling down. That's when we see a lot of businesses fail. That's when we see a lot of people give up before they reach their goal. That's because a lot of the times we don't have that strong vision in place to base our action steps off. Instead, we just jump right into the game and try to take action without really having a solid vision. And therefore, that goal achievement of that vision is never really attained because we didn't have a solid one to begin with. And so that's why it's so important that you consider everything that Aaron's going to speak about today when we get into vision. So we're going to have a lot of analogies throughout the show, but why don't we just go right into it, Aaron? Let's talk about vision. Let's talk about that real life example that you were talking about and how you made your vision become a reality. We're going to deconstruct that on this show to show everyone that's listening how they can do that in their business. And fitness experts and entrepreneurs, you guys can leverage this information to really start leveraging your career and business as well. So Aaron, I want to pass it over to you. Let's talk about, let's jump right into it.
Sure, Mark. So I'll share with you my vision, or the outcome, and then I'm going to go back to how I established the vision. So just this past January, I spent a month in Swaziland, which is a very small country in the very southern part of Africa. And in Swaziland, they have the highest incidence of AIDS and HIV in the world, almost half the population. So you can imagine the social challenges that are a reality there. So what I did, I wanted to go there to help people there build and operate their own egg farm so they can feed themselves and then countless thousands of other people in the rural communities that really just need basic nutrition to help them survive and excel. So the way the vision started is, I'll go back to picture 2013. Picture yourself out sailing on a tall ship in the Caribbean. You're probably wondering, what does that have to do with Africa? Well, I'll share. When I was there, I had a great conversation with a fellow sailor. We were talking about ways that we want to help people in the world, like in particular, helping people in developing countries. So I was talking with this person, then I verbalized that I wanted to go to a developing country, specifically Africa, and help people there learn how to operate their own egg farm. And once I verbalize it to that other person, once I sort of made it public almost, you know, I took it beyond just having the idea in my mind and verbalizing it and then writing it down, that really solidified the vision for me. And then about 18 months later, opportunities came up where I took the steps that made that vision a reality. And it was a reality just a few months ago.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron. So let me ask you a question. So it sounds like you came up, like you said, you were sailing, you were having a good time, and you came up with this vision and you put it down on paper. But when you did that, you started to say things started to open up for you. Things started to kind of come into play that were in alignment with that vision. And so, you know, that's one of the things I wanted to touch upon, because I think where a lot of people may kind of get stopped in their tracks is like, okay, I have my vision, but you know, how do I make this all happen? And we're going to get into some different models and ways that we can help people do that. But one of the things I think is important there is that you noticed as soon as you did that, as soon as you set that intention, you could say, and put it down to paper, that now people were actually coming into your space. So maybe you didn't know every step right off the bat on how to get there, but people started to come into your sphere to help you achieve that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, because I think that once people create a vision, their next thing that's going to stop them is, okay, well, how do I make this happen? Where do things go? And that stops them from materializing anything further and stops them from creating the business of their dreams. So what would you say to people like that, and what would you say on what you did and how that kind of influenced your journey?
Sure, Mark. It's great questions. Personally, what I found is very important is clarity. As much as you can, be clear on what your vision is. You notice how I didn't just say that, you know, I wanted to help people in a developing country. I was very specific. I wanted to help people in a developing country in Africa set up and help them learn how to operate their own egg farm. So that's very specific and very clear. And there's a tool that I utilize to help me through that process that we're going to allude to a bit later on. And another important thing that I learned is you don't have to have all the action steps and step-by-steps, how you're going to get to that vision. You almost have to let go of how that vision is going to be realized. And then we'll allude to some steps that you can take of action to make that vision reality. And that's reverse engineering. So what I mean by that is you have your vision, number one. Once you're clear on that, you know the end goal, you need to visualize and think backwards the steps that you need to take from that vision realized, how you can make it happen, the steps that you can take. So you work backwards through the process, right back to the point to where you are in the present moment, what you can do today, next week, to move toward that vision.
Awesome, Aaron. So thank you. So there's 3 steps I'm hearing, right? So 1 I'm hearing is we create that vision. You know, 2 is we get clarity on that vision. And once we have clarity, you know, that how-to comes by reverse engineering. But where some people get stuck is like you mentioned, is on that second step. It's like, okay, well, you had clarity, Aaron, but I'm having trouble getting clarity. And the reason why I want to point on this point here, number 2, of getting clarity, to make it very specific like you did, where it's like, okay, I'm not just going to go to any part in Africa. I'm specifically going to Swaziland. I'm specifically going to go at this time. I'm specifically looking to serve this type of community. You were very, very clear. And the reason why that's important is because that really segues to what next week's episode is going to be about, where we start creating a market dominating position. And the reason why that's important is because to do something like that, you need to start identifying what your niche is, your specific niche, your specific target market. What exactly are you after? And so I wanted to make that point. But like you said, let's go right into that model. So for every single entrepreneur that's listening, and this has held me back so many times as well, is like we think we need this broad, grandeur vision for our life and that nothing can ever change. But something that you're talking about was something as simple as setting a goal, right? Going to Africa and starting, or going to Swaziland and showing them how to set up their own farm was not necessarily a life vision. It was like something that you knew you could make happen in the very near future. And that was your vision. And as you keep going, it sounds like your vision just keeps getting better and better, and everything just starts getting more and more clear. So to really help people get more clarity, and like what you talked about, was this whole idea of clarity to contrast. And so I'm going to hold up a piece of paper here, guys. So everyone that's listening, if you are having trouble creating your vision, you're going to see here, this is don't. So what are the things I don't like? And do's. What are the things that I do like? And so a clarity to contrast model is basically giving you clarity through exactly that, contrasting things that you like and you don't like. So if you don't know exactly what your goal is or exactly what your vision is, you can write down exactly what you don't want. Because most people, Aaron, as you and I both know, most people are very common to knowing what it is that they don't want, more so than what they do want. So if they can identify all those things that they don't want, well, you can very easily create opposites for that and notice that you're probably going to want the opposite in the do section. And that's one way you can start to get clarity, and one way you can start to create a vision for your business, for your life, for your relationships, for whatever it is that you want to do. And so I just wanted to point that out there, guys, because this is one way that you can help get more clarity. But let's go ahead and talk about, Aaron, what was a specific process that you went through to get clarity on that? Maybe give us a couple examples of some things that you thought about, maybe you didn't like or you did like. I just want to make sure we hit home for the audience here, so that when they leave this episode, they're 100% certain that they can create this vision for themselves.
Yeah, that's great, Mark. So the clarity that helped me was, I didn't do this project. I wasn't involved in this project alone. There was a team back here in Canada that did a lot of preparation work, obviously. And so I wanted to be involved, or I'll start with, I did not want to be involved, maybe in an office environment, planning the construction of this farm, which is fine. Those components are obviously very important. But what I wanted to be was, I wanted to be on the ground in Africa, working with the local people there, learning from them, helping to teach them how to be self-sufficient in producing their own healthy food. So, yeah, I guess that's a good example of where I reflected what I didn't want versus what I did want. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, absolutely. And I think it's so powerful, because when we can help people get clear on identifying exactly what they do want, and that really sends out messages to the universe and to people and the things. When you're clear and there's no like conflicting thoughts where like, I want this, but I also want this, but then I want this. And it allows you to move forward in everything. I think that it's the same thing. If someone just commits to starting their business and they're like, look, I'm only going to do this for the next 2 months. I'm only focusing on this. I'm not going to entertain the idea of taking a job or doing anything else. They're going to make progress in that, and people are going to start to come into their sphere that help them make that happen. So it sounds like to me, the more clarity that we get on what it is that we actually want, even if we're not clear on the exact action steps, that allows us naturally to move forward in some way, shape, or form, because people are going to start coming into our sphere. And I know this is an example. The same thing happened to me. Like when I created marcgaudett.com and started shooting videos, I knew that I wanted to help entrepreneurs, but I wasn't very specific yet. But as I started creating more videos with the level of clarity that I was at, people started reaching out to me saying, hey, Marc, this is really good. Here are some ideas of ways that you could do X, Y, Z, or I see you being really good in the fitness industry, and because you have so much expertise in this area and you've been able to do this with the most under the most stressful jobs in entrepreneurship environments, been able to maintain your health and sort of stay in shape. And so they started to give me ideas that gave me more and more clarity and helped me to create the website, helped me to start creating branding, helped me to start getting more focus on my show. So it just goes to show you don't necessarily need to know everything right off the bat, but the more clarity that you have and you just go in that direction, the clearer things become, and also the closer you get to that ultimate vision of where you're gonna relate or where you're gonna end up. And so that's important. So guys, everyone that's listening, the third part we want to talk a little bit about with Aaron here is he mentioned reverse engineering. So Aaron talked about reverse engineering. Now, reverse engineering, working backwards. So let's say we create that vision. Let's say we create that action, or like we know where we want to go. We've gotten the clarity, and now it's like, okay, what are my next steps? So people hear the term reverse engineering. Can you explain a little bit more about that and take us through the process that you did, Aaron, to reach your goal?
Sure. So Mark, I visualized, I recited in my mind regularly, on a regular basis, the steps that I needed to take to make this vision happen. So as I mentioned earlier, I worked with a large group of people in this whole process. So I'm an egg farmer in Canada, and I worked with the Egg Farmers of Canada, which is a national organization that represents over 1,000 of the egg farmers in Canada. So this is a project that was spearheaded by the Egg Farmers of Canada. So once I knew this was happening, I knew I had to make the connections with the right people at the right time to express my desire to help. So step one, I immediately got in contact with the CEO of the Egg Farmers of Canada and expressed my desire to help on the ground in Africa with this project once it started. And it was very on in the early stages. Number two, I met with the two Canadians actually that the Egg Farmers of Canada partnered with in Swaziland that are actually there on the ground developing this whole project along with many other agricultural initiatives on this farm. So these two Canadians live in Swaziland. So I actually met them about 16 months ago when they were in Canada before this project really developed on the ground. So that was step number two, was just develop those relationships and express that desire, genuine desire to help on the ground, because that's what I wanted to do. And I expressed that to them. And then the opportunity came to me last October. And obviously I was presented with the opportunity to go there on the ground. And obviously I took that opportunity when it came to me.
Well, thanks, Aaron, because I think what I took away from that, and what I think every entrepreneur and person listening should take away from that, is that once you started to reverse engineer, you realized that you needed to reach out and voice what it is that you're trying to achieve to people in a situation that you believe or know could help you. So, one of the things that Aaron said is he reached out to the CEO of an organization that he's part of, someone empowered, someone that's going to know sort of the whole community, and maybe be able to connect Aaron with different people or help him with resources to help move that vision forward. And I think that's important, because when you're reverse engineering, if nobody knows what you're trying to do, it makes it harder for you to be helped, right? So you have to somehow put out there what you're trying to do. So once you've created the vision, you've used the clarity to contrast model to get clarity, now I have to put it out there into the universe. I have to put it out there into the world. I have to communicate this vision with someone, because if I just keep it to myself, it's going to be a lot harder to make this happen. And it sounds like when you're reverse engineering, no matter what, one of the most important things there is that you need the help of other people. It's not always done by yourself. And I think that was a mistake that I made when I started, and a lot of entrepreneurs make when they start, is that they think they need to keep these ideas and everything to themselves and do everything by themselves. But the reality is, to accomplish anything great, we need the help of others. We need others' energies, and we need others' support and resources to really get to our end goal, especially if it's something grand and something big that you've never done, and that's a large thing. So what I took away from that was, one, reaching out to others, communicating my vision to people that can help me. And what I would add to that for every single person listening, and I think that's one of the most important thing, is if you have a vision, is you may not know exactly how to reverse engineer it yet. Well, one way you could start with reverse engineering, one way you could start is look at other people in your industry that have maybe done something similar and do it. So for example, one of my visions, one of my brand vision is to create a community where not only do I create a coaching program that's allows entrepreneurs to achieve peak performance in their health and fitness that transfers over into their business and lifestyle, but also to create a community and a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs and fitness experts that want to grow their business and create a lifestyle-based business that I can have spread out globally and internationally, all throughout the world. So that's one of my large visions. But my shorter-term vision that's easier to relate to is to first be something very similar to what Aaron talked about. And my first step is replacing that that income, that 9 to 5 income, with something that I'm passionate about and creating a passive income stream through it. So for me, my first milestone is creating a 6-figure income through doing something through doing a fitness product in my industry that speaks to fitness or speaks to business owners and allows them to achieve peak performance in their health and fitness. So I'm clear on exactly what I want to do: create a product that allows me to replace my income, my 6-figure income from my working job, that will eventually become a passive income stream and serves the entrepreneur markets that want to achieve peak performance in their health and in their business and in their life. So that's something more specific that I'm working on. But me realizing that, I have to think about these 3 steps, right, Aaron? I have to think about these 3 steps. Okay, I have an idea. I know I have a vision of what I'm trying to create over the next 12 months. I've done my clarity to contrast model. I'm reverse engineering. So where do I start? Well, now I got to look at people that are already earning that amount of money, or have already created products in my field or in my in online communities that have done successful 6-figure launches. And I want to connect with those people and see what they're doing and start working backwards. That's one place you could start. Now, Aaron, what about for reverse engineering for other people? What do you think about me starting with people that have already done it, first of all, and trying to model them or reaching out to them for help or mentorship? And what's anything else you would add to that?
Yeah, that's a great step, Mark, obviously. And when you started to talk about that, it just came to mind, like in my process, when I determine my vision, the steps, the end goal. If I had to try to do that vision by myself, largely, it would have taken much longer and a lot more effort. So as you can see, I leveraged the network that I currently have. And it allowed me to achieve that goal in a much shorter time span and with a lot less energy expended. Sure, as you know, there's still skills that I needed to learn to live that vision. But one thing I really did have to my advantage is I went there to help people learn how to operate their own egg farm. So I'm already an egg farmer. That's my one of my number one skill sets. So I already had that in my toolbox. There were a few other skills that I needed to learn before I went there, for sure.
So I wanted to hit on that because that's very important too, because as we talked about having this whole idea of vision at the bottom, you know, you'll notice I've written smaller notes here. Well, basically, to get that idea, we have to identify where we're at first. And you identified, okay, these are the skills I have right now. And then I have to see where I want to go. So I need a compass. But to have a compass and to get to my vision, I need to know where I'm starting at, right? If I'm trying to get to Florida, from India versus Toronto, it's going to be a different route. It's going to be a different path, right? Well, it's the same thing. And it's going to take me longer or shorter depending on where I am. So it's the same thing with a vision, guys. The first thing when we're creating that foundation is really identifying where we want to go, but then identifying where am I? What skills do I have right now? What resources and tools do I have in my network right now that can help me? If it's none, well, then I know I just need to start creating that and immediately reaching out to others. But if we can identify where our strengths are, where we're starting from, we're going to be able to create a clear pathway to get that vision or reverse engineer to create our goals and dreams. So I guess before I go into homework, Aaron, first of all, I just want to say thank you because there's been a ton of value on the show. And I like how you kept it to these 3 steps: with the vision, getting clarity with the clarity to contrast model, and then showing us how you reverse engineered your goal to make it happen. But I want to know what are you working on right now, and where can people find out more about you to maybe get help and find out more about how they can start creating like a freedompreneur business?
Sure. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, for anyone watching, I'd love for you to visit my website, which is shown under my name here on the program. It's www.theempoweredfarmer.com. When you go to my website, you'll see that I offer accountability coaching to farmers and entrepreneurs. And the reason I wanted to provide this service is because I realized the value of having coaching in my life and business myself. And I've learned the process, I've learned the tools and the skills. And I just want to share that knowledge and that experience with others so that they can design their life and their business to the way they wish to live. And if you check out my website, you'll see there's a link there where you could sign up for a free video series that I created when I was in Swaziland. And it's a 21-day video series. You sign up every day, you'll get a short video from me where I share some insight and some tips on how to live an empowered life. So essentially how to design your life and your business to the way that you desire.
Thank you very much, Aaron. I appreciate you sharing that with my audience. And then, before I jump into the homework, I'll let people know how they can keep in track and what the next episode is. So the next episode, we're actually doing a special edition next week on Monday with Joe Vitale. If you guys have followed the movie The Secret and you know anything about the book Spiritual Marketing, he wrote the book on it. So him and I are going to be doing a special episode on Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But our regular episode is still going to happen on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about creating a market-dominating position. So if you want to stay tuned for that, go to the website, marcgaudett.com here in my the lower part of my screen, and go ahead, sign up for my email list there, enter your name and your email, and I'll keep you in the loop with the start times as well as the guests for each of those shows in the future. But I want to talk about our homework for today. So here's the homework, okay, guys? Homework section at the end of every episode. The first thing is to create your vision, okay? So number one, we're going to create our vision, okay? That's the first one here in the blue writing. And the way that we create the vision for our business is going through number two, which is getting clarity. And we can use the clarity to contrast model. Remember that? That's what we talk about. What is everything that I don't want and what is everything that I do want for my business? And that will help us to start getting more clear and honing in on the specific aspects that we need to take. And then the last part is once we've done that, we can reverse engineer. So reverse engineer, start with the end in mind, right? We take the end in mind and we work backwards to get an action plan. And that plan can change. It's absolutely okay. And it probably will along the way. But the reality is, if we don't have some plan or some action, we're probably not going to be moving forward as fast as we could. So keep in mind, again, the vision doesn't necessarily need to be a life vision. It could be just a very important goal you have over the next year or two, but it's a vision that you want to bring into reality. And like I told you, mine is to replace and earn six figures through income sources that become passive over the next 12 months. So that's just one vision that I have that I'm honing in on. And one ways that I'm sort of reverse engineering that is reaching out to people who have done that to sort of get their action steps and fill in the blanks where I'm at. And keep in mind, I'm also taking into effect, what are the things that I'm good at? Well, I like to make video. I like to speak. I like to create shows. I like to do things that are with fitness and health. So I'm probably going to be doing something in those fields and related to that. So that gives me more clarity. So think about that for yourself, all of you entrepreneurs, all of you fitness experts. Again, the homework is number one, create your vision before next week, before we get into how to create a marketing dominating position, because that's going to be just layered on top of the vision. Every episode we're going forward with right now is going to basically build upon each other. And it's going to allow you to grow your business over the next 12 months. So create the vision. If you're having trouble with clarity, use a clarity to contrast model, and then reverse engineer. And when push comes to shove, if you don't know exactly where to start looking at other people, coaches, get coaching, get mentorship, or find people that are already doing something related to what you're doing that you can help get those next action steps. We love each and every one of you. In the meantime, stay inspired, stay empowered, and operate your life and your business from a place of freedom. We'll see you on next week's episode. Aaron, thank you very much for coming out. All the guests, thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you on next week's episode. See you soon.
Mark, can I just add something?
Absolutely, brother. Jump on.
Yeah, just one really good part of wisdom I've learned in visions, goals, Mark, is just get started. Yes. I'm sure many of our listeners have heard there's no perfect time in life to get started on this, that, or whatever. And it really is true. just get started. The stars don't have to be in alignment, so to speak, for you just to get started. There's always some action you can take, even today, to make the process start.
Exactly, Aaron. Thank you for jumping in there, because that's one of the lines that I say in some of my videos. It's like, just start, because it doesn't matter where you are. You may not know all the steps right off the bat, but if you start, you're going to get more of that clarity. And you need to start to get some results, right? So thank you for that wisdom, guys. And that is gold in itself right there. So take these lessons to heart, do the homework for next week. And then we will talk about how to create a market dominating position for your brand so you can keep building that business and keep creating that lifestyle of freedom that you're after. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Thanks.
See you, Aaron.